The day my partner looked at me, their eyes shining, and said our life was perfect, was the exact moment I had to admit to myself that I was an emotional cheater. Not the kind people imagine. There were no secret meetups. There was no other person. There was something much worse. An addiction. Our life was, in fact, perfect on the outside. You know that picture-perfect life from the commercials? That was us. We had a cozy apartment with fairy lights strung over the balcony. We had a favorite Sunday morning ritual of making pancakes and deliberately making a mess with the flour. We had solid, tangible plans for the future. They were everything anyone could ask for. Kind, stable, present. They loved me in a calm, secure way that I had never known. A love that didn't demand, it simply existed. And that was the exact problem. Their calm terrified me. It felt like a quiet room to a person who had only ever lived inside a storm. While they slept peacefully beside me, their breathing a steady rhythm in the dark, I was living a secret life on the cold blue light of my phone. I sought validation from strangers. An extra comment on an old photo. A conversation that started innocently with someone from work that I let go just a little too far. I told myself it was harmless. It's not real, I'd whisper to myself. It's just an escape. Everyone needs one. I was the sole author and audience of my own self-deception. I wasn't looking for a body. I was hunting for a feeling. The adrenaline rush of being desired. The electric thrill of the chase. Every notification was like a small dose of a drug. A dopamine hit that made me feel alive, important, and seen in a way that peaceful, everyday love couldn't compete with. And the cruelest truth is that it took therapy for me to understand why. I wasn't a bad person. I was a wounded person, acting out a pattern I didn't even know existed. In my childhood, love wasn't something given freely. It was something that had to be earned. My home was an environment of emotional instability, where affection was a reward for good behavior. I remember the feeling of holding my breath, trying to be perfect, hoping my quietness would be enough to stop a fight. My childhood brain learned a dangerous lesson. Love is synonymous with anxiety. Connection is synonymous with pursuit. Stillness is danger. So, when peace finally arrived in my adult life, my nervous system went into shock. It interpreted stability as boredom. It saw safety as the end of the game. The absence of chaos felt like a void, a suffocating silence, and I was desperately trying to fill that silence with the cheap, loud thrill of external validation. I was sabotaging my relationship not because I wanted someone else, but because I was addicted to a feeling that my partner, with their healthy love, couldn't give me. Uncertainty. The "our life is perfect" moment happened on a Tuesday night. We were in the kitchen. The smell of garlic and basil was in the air. Calm music was playing. They opened a bottle of wine, poured me a glass, and with the most genuine smile I'd ever seen, started talking about our plans to buy a house next year. "I can see it," they said. "A little garden for herbs, a big window in the living room for the sun to come through. You'd love it." They spoke of our future with a beautiful and terrifying certainty. And as they spoke, painting this picture of serene happiness, I didn't feel joy. I felt the walls closing in. A knot in my stomach tightened into a ball of ice. An electric jolt of pure panic shot through me. My thumb, almost of its own will, twitched to grab my phone. My mind screamed, "He'd be disgusted if he knew what you were really thinking." In that instant, looking at the incredible, loving person in front of me, I felt like the biggest impostor in the world. Their happiness felt like a language I had forgotten how to speak. That's when it hit me. The problem wasn't them. The problem wasn't our love. The problem was that my brain was so damaged, so addicted to the chase, that I no longer knew how to simply have. How to simply rest in love. That night was my rock bottom. I didn't confess to them. Not yet. I knew that first, I needed to heal myself. Dumping that unprocessed mess on them would be just another act of sabotage. The first step was the hardest: a complete digital detox. Blocking the contacts felt like cutting off a limb. The first few weeks were a physical hell. My body felt the withdrawal, a constant humming anxiety. I'd pick up my phone 100 times a day just to stare at a blank screen, feeling utterly invisible. I started therapy focused on this. My therapist gave it a name: validation addiction. In one session, she asked me, "What are you so afraid would happen if you simply let yourself be loved without having to earn it?" I just broke down and cried, unable to answer. That was the breakthrough. I had to actively, consciously, rewire my brain. I started practicing mindfulness. At first, it felt ridiculous. "Pay attention to the taste of your coffee," they said. My mind would scream with 1,000 distractions, but I kept at it. And one morning, for about 3 solid seconds, the only thing in my entire world was the warm, bitter taste of coffee. It was a tiny victory, but it felt like a miracle. I started to date stability, to find the beauty in predictability, to see their love not as a cage, but as a safe harbor I had been afraid to enter. Today, life is still perfect, but the word has changed its meaning for me. Perfect is no longer the absence of problems. Perfect is the presence of choice. The choice to stay. The choice to be honest. The choice to turn towards my partner when I feel the pull of the old chaos, instead of turning away. The choice to find excitement in building something real together, not in threatening to tear it all down. Does the urge for that adrenaline rush still show up? Sometimes. It's like a ghost, a faint whisper from an old life. But now I know its name. I can see it, acknowledge it, and say, "I see you, but I don't need you anymore." I learned that real love doesn't feel like a roller coaster. It feels like solid ground. It's calm. It's safe. And for someone who has spent their entire life in the middle of a storm, calm can be the greatest and most beautiful adventure of all. If you're listening to this and feeling a chill of recognition, know that you are not a bad person. You are perhaps just trying to heal an old wound with the wrong medicine. Peace isn't the end. It's just the beginning. And it's possible to learn how to live in it. Recognize yourself in this story? You are not alone. Subscribe and hit the bell to join our community on healing. Like this video if you've ever felt that battle between chaos and calm. To take the first step, comment, "I choose calm" below as a promise to yourself. And because this path is hard to walk alone, I've put a free guide in the description to help you start. It costs nothing and gives you the tools to stop self-sabotage. Click the link and get your guide now.